You're watching goalRUSH Report, your home for football's biggest headlines, bold reactions, and stories that go beyond the pitch. Let's dive straight into this one. When Bournemouth walked onto the pitch at the Etihad Stadium last Sunday, they knew what was coming, but that knowledge didn't save them. Manchester City's Norwegian powerhouse, Erling Haaland, was once again at his ruthless best. With 2 goals and a dominant display, he fired City to a 3-1 win, propelling them into second place in the Premier League table. For defenders, it's becoming an impossible puzzle. Haaland isn't just scoring. He's devouring every defensive system thrown at him. 17 goals in just 13 appearances across all competitions this season. Those are video game numbers. In the Premier League, he leads the Golden Boot race with 13 goals, already 6 clear of the nearest challengers. Igor Thiago, Danny Welbeck, Antoine Semenyo, and Jean-Philippe Mateta. The question remains, how do you stop him? Former Liverpool midfielder and current ESPN FC analyst Hutchison believes there is a way to limit Haaland's influence, but it requires courage, discipline, and a willingness to completely change the way you play. After watching Bournemouth try and fail to contain the Norwegian in their 3-1 defeat, Hutchison shared what he thought they should have done differently. He explained that teams often make the mistake of pushing too high up the pitch or trying to press City in midfield. When that happens, Haaland thrives. The more space he is behind defenders, the more lethal he becomes. Hutchison argued that the best way to nullify Haaland isn't to challenge him physically or meet him head-on. It's to deny him the space he loves. That means sitting deep, using a compact low block, and cutting off the service from Kevin De Bruyne, Phil Foden, and Bernardo Silva. In his words, if you sit back, defend deep, and take away his running lanes, you can frustrate him. Bournemouth should have played lower, stayed compact, and forced City to break them down differently. But as Hutchison himself admitted, even the best tactical blueprint can fall apart the moment Haaland smells a goal. Because when the Norwegian gets a clear sight of the net, there's often no stopping him. When he goes through on goal, he's almost always unstoppable, Hutchison said. And he's right. Haaland's strength, speed, and precision make him a nightmare in one-on-one situations. Even when teams try to double mark him, he finds a way. His off-the-ball movement, darting between defenders, timing his runs perfectly, makes him almost untrackable. Once the ball is played through, all it takes is one touch, one burst of acceleration, and it's game over. That's exactly what happened against Bournemouth. City's midfield carved open space. Haaland darted into the channel, and within seconds, the ball was in the back of the net. It's not just in England where Haaland is tearing up the record books. On the international stage, he's been just as dominant. For Norway, the 25-year-old has scored 12 goals in 6 games during the 2026 FIFA World Cup qualifiers, an astonishing rate that has propelled his country closer to their first World Cup appearance since 1998. Every match feels like another step toward destiny. Whether it's a scrappy finish inside the box or a thunderous strike from distance, Haaland delivers. His ability to score from any angle, with either foot, in any situation, that's what makes him special. After the win over Bournemouth, Pep Guardiola didn't hold back in his praise. The Manchester City manager, who's coached Lionel Messi and competed against Cristiano Ronaldo for years, placed Haaland in elite company. Of course, he's that level, Guardiola said, when asked if Haaland could be compared to Messi and Ronaldo. That's not a statement Pep makes lightly. For him to even mention Haaland alongside the 2 greatest players of the modern era says everything about the Norwegian's impact. However, Guardiola added an important caveat. Longevity. He pointed out that while Messi and Ronaldo maintained world-class levels for over a decade, Haaland is still early in his journey. Messi and Ronaldo did it year after year after year, Pep said. Erling is at their level in terms of performance, but now he must do it consistently for many seasons. Still, the fact that Pep even brought up those names in the same breath as Haaland shows how rare his talent truly is. It's easy to look at Haaland's numbers and think he's just a poacher, someone who finishes chances others create. But that's a huge understatement. His game is built on a mix of intelligence, instinct, and sheer physical dominance. His positioning is almost supernatural. He always seems to be in the right place at the right time. And then there's his mentality, ruthless, focused, and hungry. Every time he scores, he doesn't celebrate for long. He's already thinking about the next one. Haaland's father, Alfinga, has often spoken about his son's obsession with improvement. He studies defenders, watches clips, and prepares for every match like a student, he once said. That preparation is why Haaland can adapt so quickly to different defensive systems and still come out on top. Up next, Manchester City face Borussia Dortmund in the Champions League, a return to Haaland's old stomping ground. That clash will be personal. Dortmund know better than anyone how devastating he can be, but stopping him now might be an even harder task than it was when he wore their colors. After that, City turned their attention to a blockbuster Premier League showdown against Liverpool. Haaland versus Virgil van Dijk. The immovable object meets the unstoppable force. If there's one fixture that could define the golden boot race and City's title hopes, it's that one. Don Hutchison's advice might help teams contain Haaland for a few minutes, maybe even a half. But the reality is simple. You can't stop him completely. You can only survive him. When Haaland is in this kind of form, it doesn't matter how deep you defend or how organized you are. He'll find a way. And that's what makes him so special. The blend of raw power, intelligence, and relentless hunger that separates him from everyone else. Pep Guardiola sees it. The world sees it. And even his opponents, like Hutchison, can only admire it. Because when Erling Haaland takes the field, defenders don't just face a striker. They face inevitability. OUTRO. That's all for today's breakdown on goalRUSH Report, where football meets insight and every story hits the back of the net. If you enjoyed this, make sure to like, subscribe, and stay tuned, because with Haaland in this kind of form, the goals aren't stopping anytime soon.